Let's take a look at your money this morning. Back on December 29th, President Biden signed a new law that expands the Secure Act of 2019, which made sweeping changes to rules and restrictions on many savings accounts and retirement plans, things like 401ks, IRAs, and Roth IRAs. Some changes take effect this year in 2023, while others will gradually roll in over the next 10 years. Joining us this morning is our expert, Mark Gravicheski from the Quad Cities Investment Group, working on a federal holiday. Good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Ann, and yes, you and I both working today.
Yeah, you get up bright and early every single day, or dark and early, I should say. Hey, but let's dive into this because for parents, one of the big changes from this new law governs 529 college savings accounts. So what changes do parents need to be aware of, and how do they manage their accounts?
Well, and the rules, contribution limits, and the tax benefits that govern these 529 accounts, can vary significantly from one state to the next. But in general, 529s provide a tax-advantaged way for parents to save for their children's education expenses. Here in Illinois, and each parent can contribute and receive a state tax deduction of up to $10,000 a year. In Iowa, a little bit different. That amount is $3,785 per child per parent. And basically that money can then be invested and grow tax-free to pay for qualified educational expenses for college or trade school, some type of vocational schools. But Ann, what happens if a child doesn't go to college or some type of trade school? What do the parents then do with that money? Before they could change the beneficiary to that 529, to another child or even another family member. Or if they did decide to cash it out, they'd have to pay taxes and a 10% penalty on any earnings. But starting in 2024, Ann, parents can roll over a lifetime amount of $35,000 from the 529 account into the beneficiary's Roth IRA. Now, the money must have been in that 529 account for at least 15 years. And also, you can't roll any contributions that you may have made over the last 5 years. And the rollover is subject to, annual contribution limits, which are currently $6,500 for those under 50 years old and $7,500 for those 50 and older. But Ann, this new law does provide some much needed flexibility to parents in how they manage those 529 accounts.
Yeah, when I gave birth and I was rolling out of the hospital with my son, they were like, start saving for college today. he's 2 days old, but start today. So yes.
As soon as you get out of the hospital, get that 529.
Another element of this act is it changes many of the rules for required minimum distributions on many retirement accounts. So what are the new requirements under this law?
This is a significant one, and for a lot of retirees. Before this new law, the IRS mandated that in the year you turn age 72, you needed to start taking, annual required distributions from your IRA and tax-deferred retirement accounts. But effective January 1st of this year, and the age at which you must start taking those required minimum distributions changes from age 72 to 73. Starting on January 1st of 2033, 10 years from now, the age then increases to 75. But also starting January 1st of this year, you're no longer required to take minimum distributions from your Roth 401k account. But remember, a Roth 401k is different than a regular 401k, which is still subject to required minimum distributions. And finally, and also starting January 1st of this year, it reduces the IRS penalty tax from 50% down to 25% for failing to take your required minimum distribution in a timely manner.
All right, for people, Mark, who change jobs a lot, and maybe they start saving in one aspect and then they switch jobs and they start saving at the new job. What does the Labor Department, what have they done? They created a national online database for, hard to believe, but yeah, there are lost and found retirement plans. So what can you tell us about this? It's a brand new feature.
It is, and you know what, and this is one of the more interesting provisions of this Secure 2.0 Act. The Department of Labor, Ann, estimates that, the average person, to your point, will hold 12 different jobs over their lifetime. And potentially that can be a lot of different retirement plans that a person may have contributed to over the years. So this online database through the Department of Labor can help people identify or track down retirement plans that they lost track of or simply forgot about. And Ann, who doesn't like finding long lost money?
I'm going to call you up to get that website. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Have a great Monday.
Enjoy the rest of your week, and great seeing you. Happy
You
Monday.
too.